This has been the best year ever for video games. I don't care about 2008. I don't care about 2012. I don't care about 1999. I don't care about your personal favorite. I feel like objectively, this has been the most jam-packed 8 months ever that we've recently had. And the year is only going to get even more intense from here on out. But today I want to talk about that because as a person whose job it is to actually review games, a person that tries to finish big online stuff and master fighting games and do RPGs, it's insane just how much is constantly coming out. Resident Evil 4 Remake, Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy. How the heck are we supposed to sleep and still see some credits roll? But let's talk about that. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm currently working on a big review for Baldur's Gate 3, which is actually one of the biggest games on the planet, but you know, what kind of inspired this is that I saw people discussing the fact that if you actually just discuss it, what could possibly be Game of the Year? I feel like for the first time ever, I may have to pick multiple games of the year. Like, truly consider it. Street Fighter 6, Hi-Fi Rush, RE4 Remake, Dead Space, Spider-Man 2 is coming up. Like, that's the crazy part, is that it's not just what's currently out. Think about even just in the next couple weeks. Starfield, Mortal Kombat 1 is coming out here in like, what, 2 weeks? Or wait, what does that come out next month? It's all becoming a crazy blur. There is just so much, including a new 2D Mario. So what I wanted to do today is actually just discuss review scores and why I just feel like this is a standout year. There have been good years for gaming, but is there really stuff where you see so many games that are getting 90s, 95s, almost 100% on places like Metacritic? Like, Final Fantasy 16 is honestly, I think, a freaking masterpiece of a game. I ended up giving it a 9.5 out of 10. An 87 on Metacritic is bonkers. This is technically the highest rated game of the entire year, and it is something I think is probably going to end up sweeping the award season, which is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. A 96 on Metacritic with 145 reviews. This is not just a good game. This is not just a great game. This is one of the highest rated games of all time. And it actually just came out just so recently. It's bonkers to think that games like this that are just so revolutionary, that typically are like a once-in-a-decade experience, and we've gotten multiple of them in 2023. Like, let's not even consider the fact that, honestly, there's just so many great online games as well. Path of Exile is completely revolutionizing ARPGs. There's talks about content patches maybe coming out to games like World of Warcraft Classic, inventing hardcore mode. I'm honestly just so in love with everything we're getting. Now, next up, while we're talking about how, honestly, Nintendo is kind of killing it, Metroid Prime Remastered, remember the fact that not only did this come out on February 8th, they shadow dropped it. They gave us one of the best games ever, again, improved, and they just dropped it randomly like this wasn't the most mind-blowing thing ever. I cannot believe that 2023 is just so top tier. Even our shadow drops are being considered as Game of the Year contenders. Next up, probably one of my personal games of the year. People have been asking me a lot of like, okay, DreamcastGuy, you beat a lot of games, you love a lot of games, you explore a lot of crazy worlds. What personally is your Game of the Year thus far? It's difficult to say because I have played so much. But as it stands, I think Resident Evil 4 is a big contender for me right now of Game of the Year. I literally beat this game 12 times the first month. I got the Platinum Trophy. I beat it 3 times on Xbox Series X and, of course, 9 times or whatever the heck on PlayStation 5. The game is just utterly perfect. It's one of my favorite horror games ever, and they've brought it back and made it even more shiny and amazing and deep. I actually played RE4 Remake until my hands physically hurt. I played RE4 Remake so long, I had a friend of mine that does personal therapy give me tips for getting rid of hand cramps. That is a new level of gaming that is insane to me. But you know what? The Capcom hits just keep on rolling. We can't forget the fact that Street Fighter 6, which I gave a 10 out of 10, was again an utterly mind-melting experience. How do you take this classic franchise of Street Fighter and give it new characters, new balancing, new epicness, a complete story mode, create a character, online play? I mean, I think I'm just in love with 2023 because the big games that you expected to be great turned out to be fantastic, but even the random average looking stuff, the sequel bait, they turn out to be amazing as well. 2023 is one for the history books. I mean, seriously, of course I have to give a lot of love to Dead Space Remake. Again, this is a game I gave a 10 out of 10 to because I like Dead Space. It's interesting because while we did get the Resident Evil 4 remake, which was a reimagining, the Dead Space remake is a bit-for-bit, block-for-block reconstruction of the original game. They changed nothing, but they did add some extra tweaks, some extra hidden stuff, some side objectives and stuff that were a nice touch to improve an already miraculous horror experience. This is the vibe of 2023. Good and now better. Next up, let's talk about Hi-Fi Rush. Obviously, a big W for the Xbox. Randomly, again, a shadow-dropped game. It was big. It's epic. If you didn't play Hi-Fi Rush, it's like a music rhythm game where a guy goes into a robot factory to get his arm fixed, and suddenly he gets a special implanted iPod Nano to his chest, and so now he feels the rhythm of the universe. The game is not just quirky and beautiful, it's one of those games that I feel like the soundtrack itself is just as fun as the game, which is such a unique style of awesomeness. Next up, of course, we got to talk about the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. Now, I put this on the list just because, honestly, I'm a Final Fantasy fanatic. I'm glad this is here. I'm glad it's back. I'm glad it's so dang good. This is Final Fantasy 1 through 6 completely remade. All of them in one giant glorious bundle. I ended up platinuming all 6 of these, which, if you don't know, that means I did everything in all 6 of the games. Getting this platinum trophy meant that I got, it killed every monster, found every chest, did every side quest, and of course beat the game in all 6 games. It took me about 150 hours to do that, and let me tell you, it was a doozy of a freaking good time. Square Enix, though, actually has another W on their plate with Octopath Traveler 2. Man, did I love this game. It is so good. A lot of people sometimes talk about the fact that they don't like that Final Fantasy is becoming so action-focused. Final Fantasy VII Remake and now Final Fantasy XVI have purely blisteringly quick fighting. If you want classic Final Fantasy, Octopath Traveler 2 is straight up old school Final Fantasy done to its best degree. It is just so good. I mean, I seriously can't praise it enough. I mean, I've been playing it a bunch. I bought a physical copy of it just because I want to support it. I've heard the game isn't selling that well, and to me, that's an absolute shocker. Honestly, this game still isn't on Xbox. Bring it to Xbox just so it has a chance to get even more love and even more attention. Now, next up, here's a game I'm still sort of just waiting to play because I am actually just always trying to review 18 games at once. I beat it, I write the script, I record it, I edit the video, then I gotta move on. This is one I initially missed, and everybody keeps screaming at me as to just how perfect it is. As soon as there's a bit of a lull, my most excited game to get to is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Everybody, the love for this game, beyond just Star Wars, apparently the game is dang near perfect. They've done a bunch of patches and stuff to make it even run better, so I'm curious to try that. And the last game that is interesting to me that I actually have, that I haven't had a chance to play much of yet, is Remnant 2. This is like a roguelike. So every time you play it, it's a little bit different. Think of it as like a Dark Souls third-person shooter that's constantly evolving. Random planets, random enemies, random dungeons, random puzzles, random guns, random buffs, random gear. But that's only part of it. The other aspect of it is that it's online. You can play it with your bros. I have heard this is fantastic. Now, I've only played about 10 hours of it so far. I've heard this is one of those games that you can play for like hundreds of hours because of the randomization of it. But once you get about 20 hours into it, it really opens up. It's adventure mode, it's story. I mean, this is a game I'm definitely excited to sit down with once I'm done with Baldur's Gate 3 and the other 5 games I'm secretly playing for reviews. I guess this is just my main point. This year is great and it's going to get better. When Spider-Man 2 drops and Starfield drops, I feel like the conversation is about to very much change. October, September, November, everything is just going to get bigger and better. And we're not even getting into the fact that we're about to get another Prince of Persia, the fact that we're about to get another freaking Assassin's Creed that actually doesn't look like crap for once. I'm ready, boys. This is the future I've always wanted. But what do you guys think about it? Are you excited for the rest of 2023? What is your favorite game thus far? Please tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. You guys may have noticed that for this week, I kept accidentally having this little black spot in the corner of the screen. I accidentally moved my monitor forward and it was creating this stupid black spot because I'm stupid and I am not very good at my job. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.